Okay, here we are with lesson 21, some facts about graphs of linear equations in two variables. So let's look at example 1 on your lesson worksheet. Let a line L be given in the coordinate plane. What linear equation is the graph of line L? Hint, identify another point to help determine the slope of the line. Well, we can pick two points to determine the slope, but the precise location of the y-intercept cannot be determined from the graph. So we're going to calculate the slope of the line. We're going to use points -2, 2, and 5, 4. The slope of the line is, we set it up as m is equal to the difference between 2 and 4, and the difference between -2 and 5. We get -2 over -7, which is 2 over 7. So now we need to determine the y-intercept of the line. We know that it is a point with coordinates 0, b, and we know that the line goes through points -2, 2, and 5, 4, and has a slope of m equals 2 over 7. Using this information, we can determine the coordinates of the y-intercept and the value of b that we need in order to write the equation of the line. Recall what it means for a point to be on a line. The point is a solution to the equation. In the equation, y equals mx plus b, xy is a solution and m is the slope. Can we find the value of b? Explain. Well, yes, we can substitute one of the points and the slope into the equation and solve for b. Do you think it matters which point we choose to substitute into the equation? That is, will we get a different equation if we use the point -2, 2 compared to 5, 4? Well, no, because there can be only one line with a given slope that goes through a point. So let's verify this claim by using m equals 2/7 and -2, 2 to find the equation of a line, and then by using m equals 2/7 and the coordinate 5, 4 to see if the result is the same equation. So here is our sample work. So if we use -2 and 2, notice that we make 2 equal to y and -2x. So 2 is equal to 2/7 times -2 plus b. That means we have 2 is equal to -4/7 plus b. Then adding 4/7 to both sides to isolate b, we get b is equal to 18/7. So let's see if that works for the other side. If we use the coordinate point 5, 4, then 4 is equal to y and 5 is equal to x. 2/7 times 5 is 10/7. Then we would subtract 10/7 from both sides, and 4 minus 10/7 would be 18/7. So again, it doesn't matter which point we use, we can still find the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is at 0 and 18/7, and the equation of the line is y is equal to 2/7 times x plus 18/7. So that means the equation of the line is just what we said, and to write it in standard form. That means that we would multiply both sides by 7, at least that is one way we can do it. If we do that, then we get 7y is equal to 2x plus 18. Notice how this gets rid of our fraction since we have a common denominator. Then continuing to isolate the variables and put our x and y on the left-hand side, because remember we want ax plus by equals c, then that means we would subtract 2x from both sides. That would give us -2x plus 7y equals 18. And if we take the opposite of the whole thing by multiplying every term on both sides of the equation by -1, we would get 2x minus 7y is equal to -18. All right, let's take a look at example 2. Let a line L be given in a coordinate plane. What information do we need to write the equation of the line? Well, we need to know the slope, so we must identify 2 points we can use to calculate the slope. Then we can use the point, or the slope and a point, to determine the equation of the line. So let's determine the slope of the line. Well, we can use points, coordinate points -1, 4 and 4, 1, and the slope of the line would be, again, find the difference between 4 and 1, and the difference between -1 and 4, we would get 3 over -5, which is -3/5. So let's take that and determine the y-intercept of the line. And again, your sample work could look like this. Let's say we use 4 or -1 and 4. So that means that -1 is substituted for x and 4 is substituted for y. -1 times -3/5 would be a positive 3/5. Subtract 3/5 from both sides and we would get 17/5 is equal to b. So that means our y-intercept is at 0, 17/5. So now that we know the slope is -3/5 and the y-intercept is at 0, 17/5, write the equation in the line in slope-intercept form. So that means we would have an equation of y is equal to -3/5 times x plus 17/5. So let's transform the equation so it's written in standard form. So here is a sample way of doing that. Again, since we have a common denominator of 5, one method is to multiply the whole equation by 5 so that we can get rid of our fraction. That means we would end up with 5y is equal to -3x plus 17. Add 3x to both sides, we get 3x plus 5y equals 17. And because since we have everything is positive, on the left-hand side, we don't have to multiply the entire thing by -1. All right, let's take another look at an example, which is example 3. So again, let a line L be given in the coordinate plane. Assume that the y-axis intervals are units of 1, like the visible x-axis. What information do you need to write the equation of the line? Well, we need to know the slope, so we must identify 2 points that we can use to calculate the slope. Then we can use the slope and a point to determine the equation of the line. So we can use points 12, 2 and 13, 7, and the slope of the line would therefore be 2 minus 7 over 12 minus 13, which is a -5 over -1, which is positive 5. So now determine the y-intercept of the line and write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So again, here's some sample work. You could use 212, or you could have used 13.7, it doesn't matter which. But 2 is equal to 5 times 12 plus b, which is equal to 2 is equal to 60 plus b. Therefore, b would have to be -58. So the y-intercept is at 0, -58, and the equation of the line is y is equal to 5 times x minus 58. So now that we know the slope is m equals 5 and the y-intercept is 0 and -58, write the equation of the line in standard form. So again, here's some sample work. If y is equal to 5x minus 58, since we don't have any fractions, we can just go ahead and move the x term over to the left-hand side by subtracting it. So that means -5x plus y is equal to 5x minus 5x minus 58. And since we don't really want a negative for our first term, we multiply the whole entire thing by -1 to find the opposite. So that would give us 5x minus y is equal to 58. Okay, another example, example 4. Let a line L be given in the coordinate plane. What linear equation is the graph of line L? So again, pick 2 points to use to find the slope. And for example, we can use 3, 1 and -3, -1. So again, finding the slope, we would have m is equal to 1 over 3, or 1/3. And then we'd find the y-intercept of the graph. So therefore, it's at 0, so therefore the point is 0, 0. So write the equation for the graph. Well, since there is no b, because it's going through the origin at 0, 0, we would just have y is equal to 1/3 x. And this would be a proportional graph. So the y-intercept is the origin of the graph. So what value does b have when this occurs? Well, when the line goes through the origin, the value of b is 0. So all linear equations that go through the origin have the form of y equals mx plus 0, or simply y equals mx. We have done a lot of work with equations in this form. Which do you remember? Well, all problems that describe constant rate, proportional relationships, have equations of this form. All right, so let's do some concept development in your journal. Again, write down what is important to you so that you can refer to it later on. So the following are some facts about graphs of linear equations in two variables. So let x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2 be the coordinates of two distinct points on the graph of line L. We find the slope of the line by the difference between y sub 2 and y sub 1 over the difference between y sub 2, or x sub 2 and x sub 1. So this version of the slope formula, using coordinates of x and y instead of p and r, is a commonly accepted version. As soon as you multiply the slope by the denominator of the fraction above, you get the following equation. M times the quantity of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1. Notice what they did here. If you take this and multiply it by m, kind of like cross-multiplying, this is what you would get. So this form of an equation is referred to as the point-slope form of a linear equation. As you can see, it does not convey any more information than the slope formula. It is just another way to look at it. Given a known, x and y, then the equation is written as m times the quantity of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1. The following is the slope-intercept form of a line. Y is equal to m times x plus b. In this equation, m is the slope and the point 0b is the y-intercept. So what information must you have in order to write the equation of a line? Well, we need 2 points or 1 point and a slope. The names and symbols used are not nearly as important as your understanding of the concepts. Basically, if you can remember a few simple facts about lines, namely the slope formula and the fact that the slope is the same between any 2 points on a line, you can derive the equation of any line. All right, time to practice. Exercises 1 through 5. Complete exercises 1 through 5 on the lesson worksheet before continuing the video to check your answers. All right, you should be done with exercises 1 through 5. The following are the answers. Make sure you pause the video and write down any questions or make any additions to your work. All right, let's wrap this up. We know how to write an equation for a line from a graph, even if the line does not intersect the y-axis at integer coordinates. We know how to write the equation for a line given 2 points or 1 point and the slope of a line. We know other versions of the formulas and equations that we have been using related to linear equations. All right, we'll see you in class.